Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Somerville Licensing Commission hearing for April 21st, 2020. I'm Joe Lynch, Chair and Commissioner. Lori, if you could read the preamble for us, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you. Proceed.
Sorry about that. This is the opening introduction. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, as well as Mayor Curtatoni's declaration of emergency on March 15, 2020, this April 20th Licensing Commission meeting is being conducted via remote participation. We will post an audio recording, audio-video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of these proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting on the City of Somerville website. We are conducting tonight's public hearing by remote participation. Information on how to participate in these hearings was posted with the meeting notice on the City of Somerville website. To testify during one of these meetings, you should have joined the meeting through the link that was emailed to you when you registered. You can also register now. Just go to the City of Somerville website calendar, open the City Somerville Licensing Commission meeting page, and click on the blue attendee.gotowebinar.com link that you find there. If you have registered for this meeting, then you should see a control panel, which will display a raise hand button on it. To speak when your item comes up on the agenda, you should click the raise hand button and wait to be addressed. Please make sure your mic is not muted when you begin speaking. This is the first time we're doing this, so we'll all just have to be a little patient with one another. If you wish to speak, we'll do everything we can to make sure you are heard. Chairman Lynch, would you like to take it over now?
Thank you very much. That was Lori Jean Batzek, City Clerk for the Somerville Licensing Commission. Joining us tonight are Commissioner Christopher Allen. We also understand that we have Sergeant Warren Shaley from the Somerville Police Department, who is on audio only. Commissioner Allen, is Lieutenant McLaughlin with us?
Taking a look at the staff list, he is present. He is logged in, yes.
He will be joining us audio only. Thank you very much. Once again, welcome to the Somerville Licensing Commission. Before we begin, I'd like to issue an apology to the Commissioner, to the city staff, and to the applicants and the attendees for last week's technical snafu. That snafu was on my part. As you know, I do a couple of things in addition to being a licensing commissioner. And when I was told that it was totally my fault and that I had to own up to it, so that is what I am doing tonight. My apologies to all the applicants and the attendees. Commissioner Allen, if you don't mind, I would like to do something before we begin the official part of tonight, or the acceptance of the minutes. I'd like to say a little something about John McKenna.
Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Commissioner. Ladies and gentlemen, John J. McKenna, the Somerville Licensing Commissioner, passed away on March 29th, 2020, after a long battle with cancer. John was a lifelong Somervillian. He came from the very well-known McKenna family here in Somerville. He served his country in the United States Army, was a practicing attorney, served the city of Somerville on the Board of Aldermen, and was a longtime commissioner of the Somerville Licensing Commission. To John's children, grandchildren, his siblings, and his extended family, we offer our sincere condolences. John's counsel, patience, humor, and deep knowledge of all things licensing has and will continue to be greatly appreciated by the Somerville licensing members. And so to our colleague, our mentor, and our friend, thank you, John, and rest easy. Thank you, Commissioner. I'm going to move on to make a motion to accept the minutes of February 10th, 2020.
Second that motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you very much. Item number two. Item number two, I neglected to mention when I introduced the staff that also joining us tonight is City Clerk John Long. John is our pilot for tonight. Item number two, communications. This is for Cocktails LLC for an event that has gone by. So noted. Thank you. Item number three, Commissioner Allen, would you like to make a motion to move item number three to the end of the agenda?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you very much. Items 4, 5, and 6, Mr. Long. Item 4 was the MSPCA Angel Fast and Furious. Item 5 was Lindsay Griffin and Co., 106 Bristol Road for a special alcohol license. And item number 6 was the Bantam Cider Company, 40 Merriam Street. All of those events have been canceled due to being non-essential, and they were canceled under the mayor's emergency orders. Let's move on to item number 7. Item number 7, this is the continuance for East Coast Remedies Corp., 76 to 82 Central Street, requesting approval for a Group A priority new marijuana retailer license. Hours of operation Sunday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. This is the notice of the public hearing for this item. This item was first presented in November, I believe, November of 2019 through many continuances. The item is back before us. Commissioner Allen, is Ms. Vega and her attorney present?
Ms. Vega and her attorney are both present.
Okay, if there's a way that we can bring both Ms. Vega and her attorney in.
I am unmuting both of them right now. You are both unmuted. Could you please say something to make sure that we have you loud and clear?
Good evening.
Hi, I'm Clarice Vega.
Good evening.
Ms. Vega, Ms. Vega, are you on a webcam or audio only?
Audio only.
Thank you. And Ms. Federico?
Hello?
Attorney Federico, is she there?
I'm here. I'm
Okay.
here.
Thank you very much. Welcome back again. I extend my apologies. I know you had a lot of people lined up. Ms. Vega, how are you doing? Let me ask you that question first. How are you doing over in Chelsea?
So we're doing very good. Thank you for asking. Our city is a little bit on a disaster. We're trying to do everything we can to address the spread. The numbers continue to grow. Our community members continue to die. Unfortunately, we have 55 people who died, and probably a little bit over 1,000 plus infected, but approximately 3,000 people with the coronavirus that doctors sent home without being tested because they didn't have tests. We created a food pantry, and we're trying our best to address the needs of our poor community. Many people have contributed to our pop-up food pantry. We're going from neighborhood to neighborhood donating food. Right now, while it's raining, I probably have 1,000 people outside that we've been feeding. Already served probably 1,300, but there's hundreds of people outside in this rain waiting for us to feed them. Extremely busy. I apologize for my voice, but we're trying everything to do the best for the people of Chelsea. Thank you for asking, and thank you for the opportunity to come back to you in this method of communication.
Ms. Vega, from me to you personally, I wish you all the good thoughts that I can send for you and the organization that you represent over in Chelsea. So let me ask you another question. The pandemic and how it's affected your potential moving forward. Have you received any kind of notification from the Cannabis Control Commission about suspension of applications or are they still moving ahead with business as usual?
I haven't received anything myself, not at all.
Okay, okay. There's one thing I've read all of the communications that have come in from the public, and as you know, we're going to hear from the public a little bit later after we ask you a couple of questions. One thing that I would ask you to consider, and I don't need the answer right now, but I may ask you to consider it. Your application indicates the hours for Sunday or 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Would it hurt your operation significantly if I asked you to think about adjusting the Sunday hour to 10 a.m.?
If I'm not mistaken, we already changed the hours.
Okay,
for
okay.
Sunday.
All right, if we could reflect that both to Lori and John, the agenda is still reading 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Okay,
And
perfect.
because we have, I'm not physically present to see the actual application.
So Sunday, the hours are from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m.
1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much. Is there anything else before we open this back up to the public, Ms. Vega, that you wanted to inform the commission of? The way it's going to work tonight is Commissioner Allen may have some questions. And if he does not, we're going to move right on to the public comment part of this. And then it will come back to Commissioner Allen and I to deliberate and possibly rule on the application tonight.
Okay.
The one thing that I wanted to check on is if we had received any additional input from the city regarding feedback on the traffic proposal. I know that they had received that relatively late in the cycle before our last hearing on this, and I was curious if they had any additional findings.
Commissioner Allen, this is the Commissioner Lynch. I have not seen anything come back out of the mobility department nor the planning department related to that February 6th traffic study.
Okay, excellent. In that case, yeah, I think anything else from the applicants, and then I'm happy to move to public comment.
Okay. Ms. Vega or Ms. Vega's attorney, is there anything else that you'd like to discuss with us before we go to the public hearing?
Chairman Lynch,
Yes.
I would like to let you know that we do have our entire team present this evening. You know, we have Gladys Vega, we have Ms. Pantadosi, who can speak regarding any of the operations. We also have Tom Morris, who's here regarding the products, and Scott Jenkins, who's from security, as well as David Giangrande on traffic. So we are all here to answer any questions that the commission may have. I just wanted to make that clear that everyone is present and capable of answering any questions. I didn't want you to think it was just Gladys and myself. And there might be a point where, as you can hear Gladys's voice, you know, she's been working so much in Chelsea with the Chelsea Collaborative that her voice has kind of, you know, suffered a little bit. So I may ask that Leah Panadosi step in just so that we can save, you know, Gladys's voice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Ann. I think when we get to the deliberation between Commissioner Allen and I, we may have additional questions of the very specific parts of this, because I'm going to address certain things that I want confirmation on, such as the the host agreement, the updated paperwork that we received about company control shares, all the rest of that. So we may be calling on certain folks in your team. So thank you for having them all assembled tonight.
Thank you.
Commissioner Allen, what's your pleasure? Would you like to move on to the public comment period?
Happy to move to public comment.
Okay. Commissioner Allen is going to take control of this. So if you could just listen carefully, he's going to be asking you to raise your hand. Is that right, Chris?
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, you'll raise your hand. I will call on you, inform you that you are unmuted. Please provide your comment. When you're done with your comment, please say something along the lines to let me know that you are done. I will mute you and we will move on to the next member of the public. I have one hand up already, so if it's pleases the chair, I'll launch right into that.
Proceed.
First up to bat, Helen Friedman. Helen Friedman, I am unmuting you. You are unmuted. Please go ahead.
Yes, actually, this is Chris Guerrero. So I'm wondering why this meeting had to be held tonight when so many people cannot attend. So is there any way that this can be postponed to a later time and some sort of different arrangement other than not everyone has access to a computer? And under the circumstances, I'm just wondering, what can this be postponed to a later time, and that a better technological meeting could be held, that more people literally could attend, even again if it's via a computer or streaming or whatever, internet. Yes, so can it be postponed? I'm done.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and turn that mute on. I have no one else with a hand up right now. We have one hand come up. Bennett Sawyer, I am unmuting you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I just I kind of agree with the last speaker that between the two public hearings that had gone on and then the licensing meeting back in February, I feel like, I guess under our current circumstances, we're trying to have business as usual, but you know, for the business themselves who want to move forward in some kind of way, aside with everything else that's going on, again, like the previous speaker had said, that I just feel that maybe either you know, where people can get online easier, or where we're able to actually kind of be in a public gathering again at some point. I just feel, my impression is that with the two public hearings that had occurred, and compared to the other two locations that were approved, or at least proposed before they were approved, this has kind of shown a much higher significance of public, I guess, scrutiny or opinion. So I guess, you know, adding to what was just said, beside what I had already had questions or comments about, but I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no other hands up. I have one has come back up, and I apologize. I know this was the one where the name does not match up with the person. I'm going to unmute you. Your name on the account here is Helen Friedman. Please go ahead. You're unmuted.
This is Helen Friedman. The reason two of us are sharing one computer is because we had difficulty logging into this application. So it's not an ideal situation, and I'm wondering if there are actually more than two people here. At a hearing for which there were many people at the previous ones, at the in-person hearings. And I would like to point out that the governor is not allowing marijuana vendors to be open in any case. So I would agree that the decision should be postponed. And I'm finished.
Thank you. I currently have no hands up. Anybody? I have a hand up. Jessica Weatherby, you are unmuted.
Thank you, and I would like to express my concern as well as the other speakers, and that this really is not the correct time to push something like this forward. My concern is that not all residents have access, as was previously mentioned, to this technology that will allow them to participate in this very community-focused idea. And I do have two questions for the applicant. The first one being if they could clarify the hours for Monday to Friday, and if that's truly going to be 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And the other question is we had concerns regarding the parking lot and whether or not Somerville residential cars would be required to use that parking lot or if they could park on the residential streets. Thank you.
Thank you. I have muted. Anyone else who would like to speak, please press the icon to raise your hand. I'll give it just a few seconds here. I currently have no hands up. Have a hand up from Corinne King. Corinne King, you are unmuted. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, great. And to add into what Jessica was saying, in further clarification for the applicant about the parking lot, it was brought up in the previous meeting about whether they were going to look into adding the arms to the security gates. There was actually going to be more of a hindrance than a help, and more further clarification that was supposed to be coming from the parking study if they said it was a problem, or if it was a positive or a negative to have those. We never heard any official word from that if that was coming back. And to also add about the parking on Central Street, right across where 72 and 73 and 75 Central are, where actually I live, right across from the proposed location, there are pretty much open public parking spaces that are about 3 or 4 right before you get to the parking lot for the Highland Kitchen and the convenience store there. There's not permit only. And so we worry that that will also just be used and blown off instead of using the parking lot that they're proposing. Because what actually forces them to go to the parking lot to say, hi, I'm here for my appointment, instead of just using the on-street parking? Because I know they're trying to be mindful of getting those patrons into those parking spots, but what makes them actually go there instead of using other on-street parking? I hope that makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you. I have muted that. I have a hand up from Bennett Sawyer. Bennett Sawyer, you are unmuted.
Thank you. Again, yeah, everybody, I don't want to repeat myself, but everybody feels that everybody has questions and we're starting to add them. I mean, I have questions too, that stretch of Central Street. And this business kind of coincides with a study in that particular area and throughout the city regarding traffic and parking and, what changes are going to occur over time aside from the business. And that stretch from Berkeley Street, I believe, or actually even between Summer and Highland Ave is on the side of Central that you can park on, doesn't not require, I don't recall exactly what length, but doesn't require a permit. But our questions are essential, and those were a lot were asked, and answers were brought back during the public hearings. But if people, or the few people that are here, feel that it would be best to have something where it has had a lot of public input to be, changed to a time where more can attend, or, the current circumstances are better, then, maybe we should do that or move on to that situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to be heard? If so, please press the icon to raise your hand. Give it a couple of seconds here.
So Commissioner Allen,
Yes.
Commissioner Allen, I think if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to answer some of the questions that were asked versus the concerns, if that's all right with you.
Absolutely.
So,
Go ahead.
So Ms. Guerrero was raising the issue about access, computer access versus in-person access. So to kind of shape this a little bit, government has not stopped during the pandemic that we're all facing. The municipalities and city governments were given certain leeway to conduct business remotely during the state of emergency. That does not replace emails coming into us, or handwritten letters coming into us, or phone calls coming into us, or people participating in these remote meetings via phone only. So I can weigh in as somebody who is in the over 65 set that there are many methods that folks can participate, or even those who do not have a device that would allow for participation over using a computer or a desktop or a laptop. So I guess my sense is this, is that I don't see a reason for postponement based on that concern. I think that this case has been open since late last year. The presentations that were given over a month ago, there was sufficient time to think about those presentations. If there's more information that Ms. Friedman or Ms. Guerrero need, we would be happy to give that information to them. But I can't see postponing this when every measure has been taken to provide the public with an opportunity to comment on this. From the issue of parking and the issue of the hours. So if I could have either the commission's clerk, Lori Batic, or Mr. Long, the city clerk, if you could just confirm for the attendees the hours of operation of Monday through Friday.
Hold on, I'm just looking it up through the application.
Thank you. And if I could also have the date of that, because I know that there were amendments made, there were certain things that were amended. So whatever that date is, those are the hours on that we're looking at for this application tonight. And earlier in this testimony, Ms. Vega testified that her hours of operation on Sunday are 1 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Correct.
Thank you, Ms. Vega.
And from Monday to Saturday, from 10 to 8 o'clock, we reduce 19 hours as compared to the initial proposal, which highlights the desire to work towards resolving all the concerns of the neighbors.
So for the attendees, just to clarify, and we will confirm it, as Ms. Batic is looking on the actual application, at the initial hearing, Ms. Vega and her team did clarify the hours of operation. So the hours of operation on Sunday are 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. and the hours of operation of Monday through Saturday are 10 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Correct.
That's to clarify that second question. I'm going to address Mr. Sawyer in his first comments that he was making about postponing and allowing more in-person testimony. Mr. Bennett, I think my feeling and my thinking stands is that there are multiple ways of the public engaging with this application over the 4-month span. So I am not inclined to postpone any deliberation or maybe a ruling tonight. I think the other concerns that were being raised about traffic are better talked about once we get into deliberation, and we ask the traffic consultant or Ms. Vega or her attorney if they could answer some questions. Lori, have we got the updated hours on that app?
We do, Monday through Thursday, according to an email that I received on November 19th from Attorney DiGirolamo's office. Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. If you would like me to change this, please let me know, and I will adjust the application appropriately.
Okay, that was a November email that we received from Mr. DiGirolamo.
In the meeting of 210, we provided a document with the new hours.
Do you have the date of that, Ms. Vega?
If I'm not mistaken, was in February where we had the last meeting.
Okay. All right. I am recalling the submission of a document to the city clerk's office with updated hours. So I think we need to clarify that.
May I ask if that was the document that also updated the ownership?
Yes, yes.
I
Hold
believe
on,
it
I will
was.
pull that. I will pull that document. Hold on.
Okay. Okay. Commissioner Allen, while they're looking for that document, do we have any other members of the public who wish to be heard on this item?
I currently see no hands raised. If anyone would like to raise their hand to be heard on this, please do so now.
Okay. Yeah, and if we could have folks who have not been heard. All right.
The only
none on
one,
that? Sorry.
yeah, the only one I have is previously spoken. Do we?
Sure, recognize them. Thanks.
Perfect. Helen Friedman, I am unmuting you. Please go ahead now.
Yes, this is actually Chris Guerrero. And before you end the meeting, do you have the technological capability to actually tell us how many people are actually tuned in and attending this right now? I think that's a critical piece of information. In other words, are there 5 people, 6 people, or are there more? I mean, in terms, I mean, you know, I don't want this to be sort of farcical. I mean, really? This is a legitimate meeting and there are 6 people here. And so I'm just wondering, do you have the capability to determine how many Somerville citizens are attending this? Thank you.
Thank you. I'm muting that.
Would it be easier if I answer the question, Commissioner Allen, or do you want to take a stab at how many are here for this item?
I'm happy to take a stab at this one since I'm standing in as our impromptu audiovisual expert. Yes, so as part of the GoToWebinar, when people sign up for this to get a login to view and speak, we get their credentials, we get their name, email address. When they log in, they are shown on the attendee list. In front of me right now, I have 2 panels open. I have a panel of staff members who are active on the call. I have a panel of attendees who are active on the call. And this is some mix of applicants for all the agenda items on the agenda today and people, members of the public who have come in to provide comment.
But I think specifically Ms. Friedman's question is, how many people who have logged in are here to speak about agenda item number 7?
So I can tell you we've had the 6 who have asked to speak on it. We have 27 attendees present in the call. So, and of those, we could subtract people here for other agenda items, which we will know when we get to the end of the agenda if people were here for other items or they are simply spectating.
Right. So
And
let me take a stab at it. I think what Ms. Friedman's question is, isn't there a better way that the city can conduct these public hearings? I would love to be able to see everyone's smiling face in the city council chamber or in the tab meeting room on Holland Street. Unfortunately, Ms. Friedman, this is what we have today. And these applicants who are here in front of us tonight have been waiting a while to be heard. We had to postpone March's meeting through a technological problem on my own part. We postponed the early April one. So I am not inclined to postpone this hearing tonight. As you know, we have multiple dozens of written comments that have been submitted to the commission over the past few months. The last count I had was there were almost 58 written comments that were submitted to this commission about this application. So there had, again, let me just go back to it, Ms. Friedman. I'm sorry. I think that the public has had ample opportunity to comment on some of the major issues that are before this commission, such as traffic and parking and suitability of the location. Commissioner Allen?
The first, oops, accidentally muted of our meeting. And if I may, I think there's no known time frame for a return to normal. And even when we do return to normal, putting 30 people in an enclosed room for multiple hours may still be unwise for potentially months to come. At some point, a significant delay like that, waiting till COVID is a thing of the past, is probably functionally equivalent to a no. And I think between the outreach that we have done for this meeting, the outreach that we have done for previous meetings, the signal boosting that this meeting has had, I have seen this shared by at least 2 city councilors in adjacent areas in emails, tweets, social media. We are definitely open to more. If anybody has any ideas for how to better advertise these, get them out to more people, make them more accessible, I would be happy to hear those. I would be happy to point out that the vast majority of methods for communication to us are still open and are still actively monitored. But yeah, this is going to be the new normal for the foreseeable future.
Okay. If there are no other members of the public that wish to be heard, I'd like to see if we can have some additional questions answered by the team. Commissioner Allen, are you prepared to? I'm sorry.
I do have 3 hands. I have, I believe, 2 who have spoken and 1 who is, I believe, new. How would you like to move forward?
If we could take the new one first, please.
Absolutely. Matthias Siebler, I am unmuting you. Please go ahead.
Hi, I'm actually his wife, Sharon Lemaire, and my husband and I both live at 6 Gibbons Street. We are adjacent to the parking lot where this proposed location is. I am not a super fan of having this shop open up around the corner from my house. However, I have to say, if there is going to be this location, if we are going to have this location be a marijuana dispensary or whatever, I think that the applicant is really an admirable person. I'm so impressed with the work that she's doing in her community, and I feel pretty confident that she'll be a good neighbor. I am not a super fan of having it around the corner from my house. However, if there is going to be one, I'd be happy to have her as a neighbor.
Thank you. Muting. We have 2 who have previously, and I'll go ahead and go through them now. Great.
Thank you.
Corinne King, you are unmuted. Please go ahead.
Thank you. There's just one additional question that I had that wasn't clarified in the last meeting, and that was about the security cameras that they're wanting to put out in front of their business. I live at 75 Central Street, which is right across, so our windows look into each other, and I want to make sure that they're either checking with us or we can get clarification and peace of mind that those cameras are not pointing into our windows or capturing our privacy at any time. Thank you.
Thank you. Muted. And next up, Helen Friedman. Helen Friedman, you are unmuted.
I just have a question about the 58 communications you received. I wonder how many of them were in favor of this proposal and how many were opposed. That's my question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, are we good? Do we have more?
We have one additional, Bennett Sawyer. Bennett Sawyer, you are unmuted. Please go ahead.
Yeah, just reflecting on what a few other people had said, and I guess when I had corresponded with the city councilors and the committee, I had kind of pointed that out where this isn't obviously like most things or most situations where it's not black and white, it's actually gray, where there seems to be the 51% business holder seems to be a beacon in Chelsea, and it seems to, would be a great business person to have around the corner from where we're all living. But at the same time, I think I had pointed out in my letter was that maybe as a business owner, she would be great in Somerville, but maybe in this particular location, this type of business wouldn't be suitable. So I guess that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Muted. And that I have no one else. I have one new raised hand who I believe has not spoken previously.
Okay, proceed.
You are unmuted.
Hercal Geropoulos.
Yes, please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Hercal Geropoulos, and I just want to state that I am for it. I see the job she's doing on the news. I think she would be a great tenant, and I think she'd be very attentive to the whole neighborhood to make sure that everything's run right. So I'm giving you my approval for it. I think she's just an outstanding person from what I see. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No raised hands.
Okay, if I could go back to, thank you, Commissioner Allen. If I could go back to Friedman asked, what percentage were for or against of the 58 emails that I've been reading? Ms. Friedman, the answer to your question is I'm a numbers guy and I tried to slice and dice who was against this and who was for it. There's two answers to that question. The vast majority of the emails that I've read have many concerns about traffic and parking. That is something that I think Chris Allen, Commissioner Allen, and I tried to address at the last in-person hearing, is that the Licensing Commission can look at certain things and make recommendations to other bodies in the city. Certainly, we do not approve or deny applicants based solely on existing traffic and parking conditions or traffic and parking that may be exacerbated by the business that's proposed. That is a job for the Zoning Board of Appeals or the Planning Board. My understanding is that this applicant will now have to move on. Whatever happens here tonight, we'll have to move on to the Zoning Board of Appeals. And it is my intention, and I hope Commissioner Allen joins with me, that we are going to summarize a lot of the, in addition to providing the actual original emails, we're going to summarize what the issues are that we're hearing from the public. And we're going to provide those to the Zoning Board of Appeals. We don't really have to summarize because the ZBA members can look at all of our taped meetings that we've had about this, and they can look at our minutes, and they can hear loud and clear from the community that they have grave concerns about the traffic and parking that may be generated by this site. But that is not something that the licensing commission can condition their approval on. That has to be done by the ZBA. The ZBA, otherwise known as the Special Permit Granting Authority. So we hear you. We understand what the concerns are. Our job is to look at many different aspects as the commissioners. We have to look at the suitability of the applicant. We have to look at certain things that the Cannabis Control Commission will be looking at, such as ownership. We have to look at their security. We have to look at the zoning that was passed for this type of establishment. Those are things that I think Commissioner Allen and I are ready to deliberate on tonight. So I hope that answers some of the questions. Is that the answer to the question is, how many people are opposed to Ms. Vega? None. How many people are opposed to the establishment on Central Street of a high traffic establishment? Many. How many people are opposed to it because it's a quote unquote pot shop? Very few. So I hope that kind of answers the question a little bit. Mr. Sawyer was talking about permit parking. Once again, that goes back to the Special Permit Granting Authority and how they work with the Mobility Department about parking on Central Street. There was another question that was asked about if a person from Somerville drives to the site and has a permit parking sticker on their car, there is nothing we can do about that. So if I live in Teal Square and I'm coming to the Central Street site, I can park anywhere in the city with a permit parking. I can park on Gibbons, I can park on Oxford, I can park on Central where it's allowed for resident parking. So I hope that answers that piece of the question. Commissioner Allen, if we see no more raised hands, what would you like to do? Would you like to ask the team some questions that I think you had initially, or do you want to move on?
I did have one, there was one question which was brought up, which would be for the team that I'd be happy to move on towards, yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
And that was regarding the security camera setup. So if we can bring on your security consultant. And I apologize. Ms. Figueredo, could you remind me the name of your security consultant and I will unmute him?
Yeah, Scott Jenkins, and he's
Scott.
ready to answer the question.
I see that hand up right there. Mr. Jenkins, you're unmuted. If you could please answer that question.
Certainly. On our very first community meeting that was held, that question was raised by that woman, I believe, and I spoke with her then and told her when the cameras are assembled, or rather installed before they're locked down, I would gladly have her over to the site, bring her in and show her where they're aiming, because we have no interest in seeing her house. That does us no good from a security standpoint. We need to see the perimeter. So I had already mentioned that at the very first meeting, but anybody with any questions on the cameras, here are your cameras, gladly bring them in, show them, give them reassurance that we're not going to be looking in windows.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins.
I have a request of Mr. Jenkins.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jenkins, the woman that had the concern is Corinne King.
Yes.
She lives directly across the street. I'm just going to ask you to reach out to her again, and if you need her email address, the city clerk's office can provide that to you. Reach out to her again and make sure that where those cameras are in the exterior of the building are not going to be, and if Ms. King is still listening, Ms. King, he may not be able to do that for you right away because obviously the cameras are not installed yet, and you wouldn't be able to see what the cameras are seeing. But I'm just going to ask Mr. Jenkins to work very closely with you so that you would be satisfied about where those cameras are and what they're capturing. There are also concerns for folks whose residences abut the back part of the parking lot and to the right of it. So the folks on Gibbons Street have the same concern about where are those cameras, what are they capturing, and do they have any say? So Mr. Jenkins, what you might want to do is reach out to those residents.
Absolutely. Be happy to.
Okay. Commissioner, keep going.
Great.
You're muted. Yep.
No, I wasn't. I just didn't say anything yet. The next question that I would have, and we've gotten feedback from a couple of members of the community via email on this, was ownership shares. And maybe, Ms. Vigorito, who do you think would be best positioned to speak on this?
I think Gladys Vega will be able to give you that breakdown.
Great. So Ms. Vega, could you run through us again the current ownership shares? And could you also clarify, has that changed at any point in the process? And if so, how?
So at the beginning, we were supposed to send a draft proposal, and I was supposed to be 51 ownership, which I am. I have always been 51 ownership. Then we brought in Tom and Leah, and they're 46, and Tom is 3%. And we submitted everything draft, so I apologize. But when we were working with Alex, it was a draft, sort of like format that we needed to submit. Since then, we have updated all of our papers, and we have signed all the documents necessary to update that information.
Commissioner Allen, if I could jump in here, I have the same question. If Charlotte is on the line, could we bring Charlotte in from OSPCD? Charlotte confirmed that information. Ms. Vega is 51% owner, Leah is 46, and Tom is 3. Charlotte, if you could just confirm that for us, please.
I do not see Charlotte in the meeting currently.
Okay, is, sorry.
Sarah Lewis?
I can confirm that.
Sarah Lewis, yeah.
Great.
This is Laurie, and I'm saying that I can confirm that I got an email with the update.
Yes, it's the same it's the same attachment that I was looking at. Is that correct, Laurie?
The attachment that goes to the CCC, it's a CCC application. Yes.
Yes, yes, okay. Does that answer your question, Commissioner?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay.
I'll let you ask a couple.
Okay. Do we have, is Sarah Lewis still present? I just have a couple of things I want to run
Sarah
through.
Lewis is present. Miss Lewis, you are unmuted. Miss Lewis? May not be at her computer currently.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I don't have any questions for the team other than Tom, if Tom could pronounce his last name again for me, please. Tom Mamora?
Tom Mamoris.
Tom Mamoris. Could you bring Tom Mamoris in for me, Chris?
All right, Mr. Mamoris, you are unmuted. Please go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you. Tom, it's Commissioner Lynch. How are you?
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Good. So Tom, let me ask you a question about finances for recreational marijuana shops in general. What we've seen is that during this time of emergencies is that the governor has basically said, no, they are not essential services. Let me just ask you, if you can, best lay out for us what is going to happen to this industry as we move forward for maybe the remainder of the year. Or I know the financial aspect of this is going to become brutal for startups. What are you seeing from the investors and the some of the owners of this? Are they skeptical about if the business is going to succeed under the current conditions, or are they hopeful that things can turn around in the latter part of the year?
Well, thank you for that question. I know currently there was a lawsuit brought against the CCC regarding the non-essential versus essential for the adult use stores. So we'll see what happens with that. But just with our planning and in general, I know this is going to be a long process if we're able to get this open. That by the time that we're going to reach that point, we've had this budgeted in. At least in our regards, that this won't change much. It's difficult to speak on other entities. There's some businesses that are multi-state operators that take a lot of investment income in, and that might start drying up. But I know with the smaller businesses such as ours, we have that money budgeted, and we should be fine.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Commissioner, what's your pleasure? If you have more questions of the applicant, I'd like to go into some deliberative mode here.
I am happy to transition to that.
Okay. Okay, so I've had to look at many things in this case. Primarily, there was a lot of reading to be done by the various emails that came in, both letters of opposition and letters of encouragement and approval. So as I've said over the past few months, one of the things that Commissioner Allen and I will have to do is we have to deliberate what each of our own separate findings are. So my findings for this applicant is first and foremost that the applicant passes with flying colors the qualifications for an operator of this type of establishment. The types of comments that were written about Ms. Vega have been nothing short of wondrous. Her work over in Chelsea, her 30+ years of doing work with many organizations have all kind of satisfied my thirst for an answer for that. Is this the proper type of person to be running this establishment? The second thing I had to look at was, has she met the guidelines that were originally established by the Marijuana Advisory Committee? And my answer to that is yes, she has, because they would not have put her in the first place slot had they not thought she was qualified to do this. Another thing I had to look at is the host agreement. Has the applicant satisfied, or have they executed a host agreement? And she and her team have. What was the presentation like that the applicant gave to us? The better presentations you're not going to find. That was a very well done presentation. It answered a lot of our questions. It did not answer a major question that was brought up by the public, which is, how do we fix this intersection at Central and Highland? I'm going to address that a little later. Did the applicant make satisfactory outreach to the community and try to engage them in conversation about the type of business that she was proposing to open, and tried to satisfy some of them concerns? I find that she did an admirable job at reaching out to the surrounding community. There were 2 community presentations that were done. Many questions were asked, many questions were answered. During both of those presentations that she was present for, the city councilors, Ben Ewan Campen from Ward 3 and Mark Niedergang from Ward 5, although they had concerns about the traffic and parking, both said on separate occasions and in separate emails that they find Ms. Vega's qualifications to satisfy the intent of the legislation and the laws that we have here in the city. So I've got written communications, I've got verbal communications, I've got 2 community meetings. I have the applicant satisfying many of the guidelines that have been handed to the licensing commission. First and foremost, what's the need? Ms. Vega answered that question very succinctly and to my satisfaction. 73% of the residents of the city of Somerville said they approve of a recreational marijuana shop. The location is an issue. The location is guided by the zoning that was updated to accommodate recreational marijuana sites. I find that that location satisfies the legislation that was passed by the city council last year. I do not find that I can make a determination on whether or not the zoning board of appeals will uphold my opinion. So I can only say this, that if Commissioner Allen wants to proceed with his comments, we can then hammer out any conditions that we would like to put on this applicant. That's my piece. Commissioner Allen, over to you.
Absolutely. So similarly to Commissioner Lynch, I wanted to talk about the guiding principles here, and specifically in what was passed by the City Council and is in the Somerville Code of Ordinances. They provided 9 different metrics, of which 3 I think provide, or I think the key points to discuss here. I do similarly want to thank everyone who provided input, both pro, for, against, and somewhere in the middle. This has all been invaluable for helping us figure out what the hot points were and what merited discussion and drilling down on. So out of those 3 points, the first is thoroughness of response to application requirements. I went back through my notes and I found that we had asked them questions about sourcing, staffing, building security, traffic control, ownership stakes, per customer sales unit limits, customer education, product quality control, vitamin E acetate, signage, ID verification, seed to sale inventory control, product delivery logistics, cash pickup logistics, preventing resale to teenagers in the community. And those are just from the things that we've asked. Those are not the things that are necessarily going to come up through the special permit granting authority, or that necessarily came up through the mayor's advisory group. And in all of their answers, I found them to be thorough. Their team is informed and seems to be following best industry practices to the best of my understanding. And I am confident that they will be able to run a well-informed, competent business. The number 2 is consistency to community values outlined in Summer Vision. And this is kind of an interesting thing because we normally think of Summer Vision as perhaps a relatively guiding document in setting the spirit, but it is actually written into the Code of Ordinances here as a guiding metric for us. And I think that the applicant is an overwhelmingly positive example of those values, and having them involved in our community, both just as who they are and what they will be able to do, should be a significant net positive. And the third, which is number 9 in the list of ones, is quality of relationship with community. And this touches on, while there have been a lot of questions and there have been a lot of concerns, I think the team has done a lot to address those and make a real good faith effort to mitigate them. The change in hours, I think, is perhaps the most significant one. The iterations on the traffic control concerns, I really appreciate their willingness to make such changes, and I believe that they are going to be a responsive party going forward. And I do want to make clear that this is an ongoing relationship. If a license is issued here today, that is not the end of the obligations of the licensing commission. This is an ongoing relationship. We are responsive to feedback from the community, just as we are with any bar, any restaurant, any hotel. And I would encourage everyone to please keep that in mind. And that is my rationale, Commissioner.
Okay. So, your pleasure. Would you like to move the item tonight? Or do you think we need to regroup again?
I would be happy to move for a vote on this.
Okay. Okay. And before I put forth what I think may be acceptable conditions, let me explain my rationale. Now more than ever, I think by appointment only types of businesses are going to become vogue. As you know, I have been always with a very, very keen eye on respecting what the neighbors want to see and what they don't want to see. What the neighbors have said, not only in this municipality, but in other municipalities across the state where recreational marijuana is legal. They do not want to see a bunch of people congregating on the sidewalk outside these shops, waiting for their product. And I have always been very clear that I think the only way to guide that is by appointment only. And I'm not going to waver on this one. So that would be my first condition. Then the question comes up, and question has been asked publicly and privately of me. Well, for the first two, you let them have by appointment only, but then they automatically lifted it after 6 months of by appointment only. And that was being guided again by the public input. We didn't have any opposition to the Highland Avenue site or to the Union Square site. We had nothing but favorable responses to those. I recognize that this site is very different. This site is a commercial district, as it's been designated under the code, but it is densely surrounded by residential properties. But let me say this about, I explained before, I've been on both sides of the gavel in this city. I've had the honor of chairing this commission, and I've also been a resident who is furious about certain things that go on in the city, and I've been on the other side of the microphone. So there is no commercial district in this city that doesn't have residential abutters. Even our newest commercial district, Assembly Row, is surrounded or is underneath a bunch of residential abutters. So I've always had a keen eye towards what do the residents want? What are the residents saying? And I think what's happening with this one is the residents are saying they're very hesitant about this shop coming into that site, and they keep citing traffic and parking. I cannot make any recommendations directly related to the traffic and parking issue. I can make a recommendation to the ZBA, the Special Permit Granting Authority, and say, look, we've already had two community meetings, 2 licensing hearings that are all talking about the same thing. They think there's going to be a problem with the traffic and parking, and the parking lots. Over to you guys. You need to figure this out for the applicant, and you need to figure it out for the neighbors. I think the only fair way to do that, Commissioner Allen, is to have a review after 6 months, and the applicant would need to reach out to the neighbors, to the city councilors, and make sure that what they're fearing is not coming to pass. I'm also going to ask for that to happen again at the 1-year mark. At least 2 of the councilors, when they came forward, Councilor Ben-Ewan-Campen and Councilor Niedergang, had asked for a permanent restriction on this applicant of by appointment only, never to be lifted. Quite frankly, I don't think that's fair to the applicant, because my question to anybody who surrounds that site is, what if your traffic and parking problems never appear? Now you've really hurt that merchant from doing business the way that other folks would be doing business. And I don't think that's a fair application of our power on the licensing commission. So what I would be comfortable with discussing with you tonight, Commissioner, is my recommendation would be approval with a condition that a complete review is done at 6 months in front of this licensing commission. And again, at the 1-year anniversary mark, after this place commences business. So not from tonight, not from when the ZBA gives them whatever ruling they give them, not from when the CCC gives that, it's from when this applicant actually opens, picks up their license from the Somerville Licensing Commission and opens their doors. That would be my finding. You're muted, Commissioner.
Thank you. I understand your rationale there, and I think you're right in that I don't think anybody knows whatever date this will open its doors at plus 6 months. I don't think anybody knows what the situation on the ground is going to look like. A large part of the congestion and traffic around these is in many ways a self-inflicted wound due to the glacially slow rollout in a lot of these municipalities. And I've been very attentive to the issues that Brookline has encountered with their facility, which is suffering those issues because it is the only one within, an hour plus, or for a lot of people. What's going to look like when, not only Somerville has potentially multiple operational, but adjacent municipalities have multiple operational, is going to be a completely different scene. That said, I think that is the correct stance to say by appointment only. We will reassess in 6 months. We will see what the scene on the ground is like. And yeah, I'm happy to require another review going forward after that. I would actually even wonder if we could say any sort of thing like, no, by appointment only indefinitely, given that while you are going to be the chair of this for a long, long, long time to come, we cannot actually pass restrictions that people coming forward on the licensing commission at some point in the future would have to abide by.
Well, I would say this, Commissioner, any applicant can always come back in front of the licensing commission. And as long as those hearings are duly advertised, they could request that those conditions be lifted.
And this was actually discussed at the previous 2 applicants. Yeah.
Correct.
But yeah, so to summarize, I don't have any issues with those limitations, and I agree with them. I think they are an excellent way to ensure that this moves forward in the least disruptive manner possible.
Then just for the audience who are still listening, for your let me try to be clear what we're doing here. We're trying to give both sides ample opportunity to figure this one out. In fears about traffic and parking, fears about the wrong element appearing at the doors, fears about your neighborhood being disrupted. The only way we can do that fairly is to gather data. So if in the event 6 months between month 1 and month 6 after they open, you have been deluged with nothing but police calls to the neighborhood, or you're complaining to your city council, whether that's Ben Ewan Campen or Mark Needegang, or the police calls to, areas that are adjacent to your parking, to your neighborhood, or can be directly tied back to this establishment, then the applicant has a problem. They have a problem not only with you, the neighbors, they have a problem with us, the commissioners. So that's what we're trying to do, is establish a fair way that they can get a foothold in this neighborhood and prove to you that they're not going to be a burden to the neighborhood. So 6 month review, by appointment only, 6 month review, then come back in another 6 months, because I think 1 year collection of data is going to be sufficient for us to either maintain the by appointment only or to lift it at the request of the applicant.
Or potentially a gradual relaxation. We will have so much more data to come to an informed decision at that point in time.
Great. Good point, Commissioner. Good point. So if that is clear, what I'm asking for, by appointment only, 6 month review, 12-month review.
I'm happy to make the motion that we approve the license with, again, as you said, by appointment only, 6-month review, 12-month review, using the stated hours that were specified earlier in the conversation here as well.
Correct. So
Would you
let me
kindly repeat those hours before you go any further, because I do not have an email with those hours.
Well, let me ask the applicant, either the applicant or the attorney, to state the hours on the latest email that you sent in to the Somerville Licensing Commission.
Commissioner Lynch?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so the hours are Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and then Sunday will be 1 p.m. to 6 p.m.
That's what I
Thank
thought
you,
I
got
saw.
it.
Okay. Commissioner Allen, you made a motion. Are you satisfied with the hours, the request for information about the hours?
Those are what I expected, yes.
Okay, you made a motion. On the motion, I'll second the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Let me explain one thing before I bring the applicant back on. I want to explain one thing about what's going to happen next. So with conditions, this applicant has been approved by the Licensing Commission. They will then have to go in front of the ZBA, the Zoning Board of Appeals. That application is up to the applicant. They have to schedule their own. What Commissioner Allen and I will do is we will try to craft something that summarizes what we have gotten from the community. And we will try to provide that to the ZBA as a point of reference. Not that we're trying to guide their decision, but what we're trying to do is give them as much information as we can based on what you have submitted to this Licensing Commission. So if anybody thinks they're going to have to repeat going through this, here's my advice. Send that email right into ZBA once the applicant gets on their agenda. So I've said it before, this is not the last stop for them. They'll go in front of ZBA, they have to get in front of the Cannabis Control Commission. They've got to satisfy a bunch of things before they ever open those doors. But Ms. Vega, if you're still there.
Yes, I am. I am so grateful. Thank you so much. And I promise that I'll do everything in my power to be the best neighbor and to make you all proud.
Ms. Vega, thank you for that. And I think you know, running the business that you have, the not-for-profit over in Chelsea, and me being involved with a lot of not-for-profits here in the city, I think one thing you know is that communication with the neighbors is the best.
Of course it is. Of course it is. And I promise that I will continue to communicate. When we first began this application process, I knocked a lot of doors just to introduce myself. And there's not that many developers that do that. And I took that seriously because I want to be a good neighbor and I want to make sure that I fit within the values of the Somerville community. Thank you so much for your vote of confidence. And I promise I'll do everything in my power to be the right neighbor for everyone in Somerville and for me to continue to make my community proud of everything we are able to accomplish together.
Well, please extend my thanks to your team. Commissioner Allen, do you have any parting words on this one?
Just I'll second Commissioner Lynch in terms of, looking, very interested to see how this moves forward and your contributions to the community. Cool.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you, Ms. Vega. Okay. Finish with that. Item number 7. Shall we move on?
Moving on to item number 8.
Sorry. Item number 8. Tamario, DBA Dolly Restaurant. This was sent up to the city solicitor. Am I correct? Or is Dolly present?
Hold on. Let me look at the spreadsheet with applicants. There we are. Item number 8. They are present. I am unmuting. Please state your name for the record.
Hello, my name is Aaliyah Wally, and I'm here to change the manager from Mario Leon to me.
This is a change of manager, Ms. Wally?
Yes.
Okay.
And just a point of order for the record, I am a butter of this property. This was discussed at the last meeting where this came up, and we decided that was not an issue.
On something like change of manager, it is not, right?
Correct. If this was a new license, I would be expected to recuse myself.
Okay. Ms. Wally, I just have a question for you. This seems to be something that the city clerk's office has been trying to get a hold of you. Is there a reason? Do we have the wrong email address or what's happened here?
So the first time I applied for this, I thought, I'm not blaming anybody, but I thought, is it Lisa Basket? I don't know how to say her like Basket.
Lori?
Yeah, I thought that she sent something to somewhere and it was all taken care of. And then when I applied a year later, it wasn't, but they let it go through. So now I'm officially doing this. Something kind of went through a loophole or something. So I thought that it was changed and then it wasn't changed, but then it was approved. So I just feel like now they're just saying I just need to change, put my name on it because the owner had died and he was under manager. So now I'm the manager.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Ms. Wally, this is not chastising, but the license is yours. So I would just request that you make sure that all the paperwork is up to date. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Is there something I have to do now after this?
Well, no. We're just going to approve the change of manager from Mr. Yu, but the licenses have to be kept up to date by the applicant. Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry for the slip up. I don't know what happened. I thought something was done and it wasn't done, and then I just came to this circle.
Okay, great. All right, Commissioner Allen, anything?
Just a little bit of background. How long have you been? So are you the owner as well as the manager now, and how long have you been with Dolly?
I'm the office. I've been the office manager for about 5 years.
Okay, cool. No really.
When Mario passed away, and I tried to apply, they said, "Oh, where's Mario?" And so anyway, again, I'm sorry about the delay. There was misunderstanding on. I thought something was already taken care of as far as my name change, and it wasn't taken care of.
Okay. All right, we'll do that for you tonight. No other question? Any members of the public wish to be heard? We got any raised hands here?
No raised hands.
Okay, make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, Ms. Wally. Thank you.
Great. Can I leave?
Yes.
Oh, great. Thank you. Bye.
Sure. On to item number 9. Number 9 is TBD. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Please go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. TBD Brewing LLC DBA Aeronaut Brewing Company, 14 Tyler Street, requesting approval of a change of manager from Benjamin Holmes to Daniel Rossi. Is Mr. Rossi present?
Mr. Rossi is present. You are unmuted. Please state your name for the record.
Hi, are you all able to hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Loud and clear.
Hi to the commission and staff. My name is Dan Rossi. I live at 43 Bow Street. I'm one of the owners and managers of Aeronaut Brewing Co. at 14 Tyler, and we're similarly seeking a change of manager on our retail Farmer Series pouring permit.
Okay. Mr. Rossi, you've been an owner of Aeronaut since the beginning, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm one of the original and largest owners of the brewery, and also been a manager of the company since 2013.
Okay, and Mr. Holmes is no longer with the company, is that correct?
That's right. He's doing his own thing.
Okay. Commissioner Allen?
Does he still have an ownership stake?
Yes, Ben still maintains an ownership stake in the company.
But that is not before us tonight, is that correct?
No.
Just idle curiosity on my part, just to be clear.
Right, okay. Okay. Great.
No questions.
Any members of the public wish to be heard on the application? Any question, any hands
No
up?
hands? Nope.
Okay. Seeing none, make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, Mr. Rossi.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And if I may say,
Yeah.
your storefront in terms of opening up for retail but still maintaining safe distancing has been pretty impressive, and I think it's something to keep in mind for other people working forward. How do you
Thank you very
maintain
much.
business but still keep your employees safe?
Yeah, we appreciate that. We wrote a blog post actually documenting all the procedures that we're doing for the pickup protocols. You should check it out.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thank you. Item number 10, please, Mr. Clerk. Kathmandu Kitchen LLC, this is a new alcohol license, city license, all forms 7-day restaurant license with entertainment by devices in the enhancement area. Kathmandu Kitchen LLC, DBA Himalayan Kitchen, requesting an enhancement area, all forms 7-day restaurant and an entertainment by devices license for 40 Bow Street. Is the applicant present, Commissioner?
Ms. Kemp is present. I am unmuting her.
Welcome, Ms. Kemp. Welcome, Ms. Kemp. State your name for the record, please, and the law firm you represent.
Megan Kemp from Adam Dash and Associates, 48 Grove Street, representing Kathmandu Kitchen LLC, DBA Himalayan Kitchen.
Okay.
Thank you. So this is an existing CV license holder. Mr. Lockett, who is the proposed manager for this location, has been the manager since 2016 when they took over ownership of, sorry about that, took over ownership of the establishment. This application is just, I'm not sure what it's from, add modest alcohol to their menu. They're not looking to have a large bar. It's a small, about 4-foot bar space in their 17-seat establishment that would require some construction, but minimal. Everything would be, table service. They will all the wait staff will be tip certified. They'll have all their serve safe. They've done, extensive talking with the neighborhood and Councilor Ewan Campen, their ward councilor. I believe there are about somewhere between 8 and 10 letters and emails that I saw go through and sent over to you, as well as about 16 pages of petition signatures in favor of adding this to their menu. The hours of the location will not change. It remains Monday through Thursday, 11:30 a.m. to 10 p.m., Friday, Saturday, 11:30 a.m. to 11 p.m., Sunday from noon to 10 p.m. So there are no additional extra hours licenses needed for approval. They do plan to have, a couple television sets just to be able to show sports and everything in the background during dinner. But again, they're not, they're just looking to be able to add mostly beer and wine, but maybe also to be able to have some sangria or some spirits aperitifs with their traditional cuisine. Obviously, with everything coming into the Union Square area, it's just they found that they are at a disadvantage not having alcohol on their menu with the other locations and restaurants nearby.
Okay. Commissioner Allen?
No questions. I don't think I've ever seen that many signatures for something like this. It was impressive.
Thank you.
Yep, Ms. Kemp, I just want to add, Councilor Ben Ewan Campen did send in his written comments, and he also contacted me via text this afternoon, apologizing that he could not be in attendance tonight for the previous applicant as well as this applicant, because he is highly in favor of us granting this new alcohol license. Hours of operation, I'm not concerned. It's well before the closing times. So, Commissioner, if you don't have any other questions, I do have one question though. You made mention of the current manager since 2016.
Correct, Mr. Jeremy Lockett.
Has Mr. Lockett ever managed an establishment with alcohol?
I do not believe hold on just one second, I'm just flipping pages real quick. I do not believe so.
Okay, he does
No,
understand
no.
that he has some certification that he has to go through.
Yes, I've gone over the certifications that he has to do, as well as the training with the city as well, which he will do after the approvals.
Okay. Okay. Commissioner Allen, anything else?
No.
Okay. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, Ms. Kemp.
Thank you, commissioners.
Congratulations to Kathmandu Kitchen.
Thank you.
Item number 11. Eve Elise, DBA Sisters Caribbean Restaurant, 83 Broadway. Eve Elise and Rose Delis Elise. Notice of the public hearing. This is a new license, common victualler license with entertainment by devices and outdoor public seating. Is the applicant present?
I do not have any name pre-signed up. If you are present for this application, could you please raise your hand? I have nothing.
Okay. Ms. Batzek, were we notified by this applicant of them being unable to attend?
No, excuse me, no, we weren't.
Okay. All right, let's put that to the end of the agenda and go to item number 12. Item number 12 is a new license, common victualler license with entertainment by devices, Waikiki Inc., DBA Waikiki Sushi and Poke, 27 Holland Street, Wei Zhang. Notice of the public hearing. Is the applicant here?
The applicant is present. You are unmuted. Please state your name for the record. I have unmuted them. Wait.
Yes, this is Waiter. Oh, I'm applying for the entertainment license to play background music for our new restaurant.
Okay, Mr. Zhang, where is it located? Where is 27 Holland Street?
27. It's nearby it's right at the Davis Square, across from the subway entrance. It's
Davis
a new
Square.
building.
It's the brand new building where Johnny D's used to be.
Yes, we started this project 2 years ago.
Okay.
It's been quite a while. Yeah.
Okay. And what are the devices again? Televisions?
No television. I think we're going to use probably iPad or computer to play background music with a couple of speakers. So
speakers.
It's a fast food restaurant with about 32 seats, I believe.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's
and
counter service. Yeah.
Counter service. So you're not applying for any liquor license at this time?
No.
Okay. Okay. Any members of the public wish to be heard? We have any hand raised?
No hands raised.
Okay. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I hope it works out for you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Item number 13. This application was closed. This is the application where there is a new owner at number 14. So without objection, we're going to close that out. Item number 14 is a new license. It's a common victualler license with entertainment by devices. Tang Bien Corp., DBA Mala Thumb, 5 Holland Street. Tang Fei Shen is the applicant present.
We have a applicant. We have a different name listed for that. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you. Please state your name for the record.
Sure. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
This is Attorney Wager on behalf of the applicant for this pending application for common victualer's license. The location is 5-7 Holland Street. And the applicant is, because of the language issue, he's not present here tonight. So I'm ready. I have all the information here. This is going to be a new restaurant. I believe the 32 seats is what is allowed for the premises, and it's going to, the applicants is Tenbing Court and DBA Mala Thumb. And they're gonna serve both lunch and a dinner. And the application with the Board of Health is still pending.
Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna operate.
Mr. Chen, I'm sorry. Where on Holland Street is this one?
Well, I do not really. I'm sorry, I do not know the exact location, but it's very close to Davis Square.
Okay, so it's at that end of Davis Square. Okay. It sounds like can someone just look at the previous number 13 that we just, what was the number, Holland?
This is the 5-7. 5-7 Holland Street.
I've pulled up Google Maps, the advantage of the virtual meeting here, and this is just 2 doors down from the previous
That's
applicant.
exactly. Okay. Thank you very much, Lori. That was at number 7 Holland, the previous applicant. So this is number 5. Right. So this is a brand new building that was built right in the middle of Davis Square. Okay.
No,
this is not a new building. I'm sorry, this is not a new building. This was Hulan Beer, who never got their license, and now it's been sold. Prior to that, it was another establishment, and they were going for an alcohol license, and that fell through. So this is 5 or 5-7 Holland Street.
Okay. All right. I've got the area. I'm sorry. I've got the area. It's directly across the street from the Davis Square T-stop. Got it.
Yeah, it's listed on item number 13. It's listed as 7 Holland Street.
Great. Mr. Chen, is this the takeout only?
No, this is going to both sit down and the takeout restaurant.
Okay.
It has 32 seats.
32. And you're not going for a liquor license at this time?
No, not this time.
Okay. Commissioner Allen, any other questions?
Go ahead.
No further questions.
Okay. And Mr. Chen, you're the attorney for the Corp, correct?
Yes, I'm the attorney for Mr. Chen, the operator, the owner of the new restaurant.
Okay. All right. And for the record, could you state your name one more time for the city clerk?
Sure. Yes, first name W-E-I, last name J-I-A.
Excellent.
And
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Allen, anything else?
No further questions.
Okay. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Best wishes for your client.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 15. Item number 15 is a new license, common victualler license, Eunice Inc., DBA Alfredo's Italian Kitchen, 288 Broadway. Amaldadine Derabala is the applicant present.
Present and unmuted. Please state your name for the record.
Imaldadine Derabala.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And this is common victualler license. Alfredo's Italian Kitchen, is that already an established site there on Broadway?
Yes, it's already in business. And I'm just, I have like a 30 years experience. I've been doing this for 30 years. I had a place in Quincy, and now I'm moving to Somerville.
Mr. Derabala, are you buying the establishment?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And you will become the new owner and manager?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. 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 Hours of operation?
It's going to stay the same, not changing any hour at the present time.
And what
which
is
is from 10 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night, Sunday through Thursday, and Friday and Saturday from 10 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night.
Okay. And this is a limited seating, I take it?
It does actually have quite a bit, large dining room. I think it has the largest maybe dining room in the whole Broadway. That's why I love the place. Right now, as it is, I think it has around 48 seats, but I'm not planning to add any more. I'm just planning to leave it as is. But it just have a very large dining area.
Okay. Okay. All right, Lori, if we could just make a note that this is also for new manager on this license.
Sure.
Okay. Okay.
I just want to make one note. I'm really happy to move to Somerville. I live in Revere, so I always wish to have something close, and I really love the city of Somerville. So.
Thank you. You know the way to get an approval there, Mr. D.
No, that's really, I mean it. I really like the city of Somerville. It's probably the casino. The only thing I don't like is too close to Somerville, but I love the city of Somerville.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Allen, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Okay, make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Oh,
Aye.
I'm sorry. We skipped public comment.
Sorry. Are there any members of the public that wish to be heard?
We have Jessica Eshelman. Jessica, you are unmuted.
Hi, I don't want to confuse the process. I've been having some challenges. My goal was to provide comment for Himalayan Kitchen.
I apologize. I am not sure where the error was. It's possible I did not see it. It's possible. Sorry.
Ms. Eshelman? Ms. Eshelman, it's Commissioner Lynch. If you would like to make comment, we've already approved it, but we will take your comment.
I would be grateful. Have I in any way interrupted the process for agenda item 15? And if so, how would you like to proceed?
Yes, actually, what I'd like to do is I would like to get that approved, and then we'll come back to you.
Thank you.
I'm going to mute Jessica. I'm going to unmute the applicant.
Okay. Mr. Darabala, my apologies for that.
No worries, sir. You guys doing the best.
All right. So seeing no public comment on item number 15, make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Mr. Darabala, welcome to Somerville and good luck.
Thank you. We look forward to see you when we open one day, you know.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you. Okay.
Right, going to go ahead and
Commissioner,
unmute.
let's go back to Ms. Eshelman, please.
Yep. Please go ahead. You're unmuted.
Thank you for the opportunity for me to share my remarks and for you approving this license, which I was tuning into to speak in enthusiastic support of. My name is Jessica Eshelman. I'm the Executive Director of Union Square Main Streets. We have worked to strengthen the dynamic neighborhood of businesses and people in Union Square since 2005. I'm here again this evening to speak enthusiastically in support of Himalayan Kitchen's application for several reasons. This is good for Himalayan Kitchen, and this is good for Union Square. Granting this license will significantly increase revenue for this family-run business that had served a wide range of diverse customers since 2016. When we talk about the vibe in Union Square and the local businesses that we love, this is a shining example of exactly that type of business. The increased revenue from this license will position Himalayan Kitchen for continued growth following significant storefront improvements over the last 2 years, both interior and exterior. It's looking beautiful, and we know that they have big plans to continue improving their storefront, and this additional revenue will be very beneficial for those goals. Third, the addition of beer, wine, and spirits to the menu provides an opportunity for customers to linger longer after meals or visit in between meals, strengthening the sense of community that is already so strong in their restaurants. In terms of Union Square, granting this license will contribute to Himalayan Kitchen's ability to continue its regular support of the community at large, whether that be through sponsoring Union Square Main Street's efforts to raise a snap match for the farmers market or fluff programming, or as you may have seen this week, the announcement to give away 50 free meals to neighbors for the several next weeks ahead. And finally, granting this license enables Himalayan Kitchen to expand its offerings to existing customers and attract new ones, which strengthens Union Square's reputation as a food destination. So thank you for the opportunity for me to add our support to all of those letters that you have already received. This is a business that is, they've been in the square for many years, and I can't wait to go raise a glass with Jay, Rabina, and Utom in celebration of you granting the license. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Eschliman. And when the comments are written about how these licensing commission hearings go, you can blame Commissioner Allen for not calling on you.
I apologize for that.
He's doing his mea culpa as we speak. Thank you very much for your continued support of businesses in the Union Square District.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 16. This is, I think we sent this is the item where I was requesting determination on the following item, how many times we carry over somebody. And I requested that the secretary send this up to the law department. Did we receive any determination, Lori?
No, we did not.
Okay, we'll leave that for the May hearing. Item number 17. This is Commissioner Allen making a request. Have not notified, asked the secretary of these that notify the commission. So, Chairman Lynch has requested a list of all business licenses that the city knows have closed, but have not returned their licenses pertaining to all the alcohol and common victualler licenses. I can't see the rest of that. Laurie, can you bring it up just a little bit on 17? Yeah.
John's working on it, Joe. Hold on.
Okay. Do you have the paper copy in front of you? You can just read. There you go. Thank you, John. Let's see. Okay. Lori, I think we have a pretty good handle on this. Trying to clean up, different businesses that were out there. Is that your sense, on the businesses that had closed and never notified us, or?
Pretty much. The only one that I can comment on that really hasn't done anything right now is Pepe Boca.
Okay. All right.
And I don't know where that is, quite honestly, because there's just been so much back and forth. I would have to go back and see where we are with that.
All right, Commissioner Allen, I feel comfortable closing this item out, just taking it off the agenda.
I would agree.
Okay. All right, next agenda item, please. Lieutenant McLaughlin brought up a concern. And is Lieutenant McLaughlin here?
He is present.
Okay. Lieutenant McLaughlin, would you like to speak to item number 18?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. I did have communication with the person from the Central Street location a couple months ago via email. He answered my concerns, which were several. One being any type of medical emergency, what the procedure would be about getting into the building and access to the patient, both for a fire and EMS. It was explained to me what their process would be. People would be escorted out. Their staff would still be inside. Any type of fire alarm activation, the concern would be to evacuate the building as quick as possible. And that also was addressed as to the terms of the speed and efficiency of exiting the building, both staff and patrons. It was also, I believe, talked about that once the building is open and ready for product, it's going to have to be inspected anyway by ASD and fire, that we will go over the proposed emergency evacuation again at that time. And this is also going to be kind of implemented later on with both the Union Square and the Davis Square location.
Okay. Okay,
That's it.
I think your concern, Lieutenant McLaughlin, when you brought that to my attention, was that there was communication back and forth between the establishment and you had asked for my advice as to how to handle that. I think if you submit that information to the secretary here, I think you're fine.
Okay.
Submit it to Gene.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
So
Thank
I'd
you.
like to thank you very much. I'd like to close that item out, Commissioner, if that's okay with you.
I concur.
Yep. All right. We'll close that out. Item number 19, please.
We don't have an item number 19. We're looping back around.
Looping back around, we had one application that would continue to the end of the agenda, I believe.
That was number 11.
Number 11 was Yves Elise. Are they here? Sisters Caribbean Restaurant, new license.
I don't see any names in the attendees list who haven't already spoken on something else. If you are present for Yves Elise, please raise your hand now. Nothing.
Seeing none, we'll move that to the May meeting. And Commissioner Allen, you had one more item on the agenda.
Number 3, I will request a continuance on this though, because the law department has not provided me the updated text, and given everything going on, I have not pushed them on it.
Very good. I think it's a wise decision. We have to use our pushing at the law department at our discretion these days. Okay, are there any other items on the agenda, Mr. Clerk or Ms. Clerk, Ms. Secretary? I don't think there are. Commissioner Allen, do you have anything you want to add?
No, nothing further.
Okay, then I want to give my personal thanks to you for handling the spaceship tonight, and to the City Clerk John Long, and to Commission Clerk Lori Jean Batsik, and to the rest of the Commission for having patience with me over my snafu last week. And thank you all for your attention tonight. There's no further business. This meeting is adjourned.
Stay safe, all.
Thank you very much, everybody. All done, John?